This is the Hollywood Outsider, a weekly entertainment podcast where this week we are talking the latest in movie and TV news. We're reviewing new releases Dark Shadows and God Bless America, our weekly trivia and flashback DVD segments, as well as our From the Outside In topic, which this week we're talking about some of the network's most interesting fall pilots. You can always subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or anywhere you can find an RSS feed. With that, I am your host, Aaron Peterson. With me today are my fellow hosts, Scott Clark.
My name is Scott Clark, and I'm adopted and offended by the Avengers.
Justin McCumber.
Hey, bro, what's going on, man?
Not much. And Brian Williams.
Hello.
How was that not the stupidest story I read all week long?
Oh, God.
What made me laugh on that is that the person that was like all offended about it said that they laughed in it, at that scene.
Is it? Justin, what was the recap on that? Basically some short version. We don't want to dwell on it, but.
Well, there's an adoption community that there were some people in it that felt like the line from the Avengers where they were talking about the evils of Loki, Thor stepping forward and saying, you know, don't talk about him that way. He's an Asgardian and he's my brother. And then like, yeah, well, he killed, 80 people in the first 3 days. And Thor goes, well, he's adopted. Really fucking funny line. But of course, we live in a society where there is not nearly enough shit for people to really worry about. So they make up this bullshit stuff to get offended over. And a few of them got together, made an online petition, and it has gone nowhere.
Like
last
people.
I looked at it, it had like 200 signatures.
That's awesome. You know what I feel bad about? Is they're actually drawing attention to something and making it sound bad that wasn't intended to be. Nobody has a sense of humor anymore. It's just stupid.
Well, sadly, they're not the first group to get pissed off. Apparently, India, the country of India, didn't like the way the 5-minute segment of the film that took place in India portrayed the country as though it was, third world and kind of run down. Like, yeah, they're making that shit up out of whole cloth.
Yeah, right. That's just a small neighborhood out of that big fucking country. That's not representative of the rest of it.
Right, because all the rest of it's just perfect and clean. And then I read that the military had been approached by Paramount and Joss Whedon to help out with some of the scenes on the helicarrier, as they're often approached by movie companies to do it. Michael Bay gets their support constantly. They bent over backwards to help out Peter Berg do Battleship. Most films that have the military involved get the military actually involved. Well, they didn't want to work on this film because they felt like it was just too unrealistic. Like the fucking Transformers is an average day in the life.
Yeah, because Battleship is based on history.
This makes the best arguments ever.
That's what really happened in World War II.
I don't really want to continue with all the other stuff we talked. I just want to hear Justin rant.
Well, it's just dumb. Apparently, their big issue was that the
I didn't actually mean
running
that.
the helicarrier was SHIELD, this kind of ultra-national stealthy intelligence organization. So since it wasn't the U.S. Navy, they didn't feel it would be appropriate to lend their people or their expertise to it because that's just not realistic. Fucking stupid.
Are you okay? Can we move on now?
Let's move on because I'm just going to get madder the more I think about it.
Okay. Well, we'll start with movie news. Nothing's confirmed yet, but in the works talks is the J. Roach comedy El Presidente. I didn't say that quite right. El Presidente.
You gotta roll the R's.
Which would pit Secret Service agent Tom Cruise guarding a disgraced and bumbling former president played by Robert Downey Jr. If this happens, I think it's one hell of a matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea. Jay Roach is a good director. I've loved quite a few of the films that he's put together. Of course, Robert Downey Jr. is perfect as, a disgraced president. I mean, the guy's living through enough personal disgrace of his own to, I think, be able to pull that role off without a hitch. And Tom Cruise, even though 99% of the work he does is, serious drama or action, the dude has also got some pretty good comedic chops, and I think he'd do really well in a movie playing with Robert Downey Jr. This sounds like a pretty good matchup.
Nobody delivers snarky one-liners better than Robert Downey Jr. So seeing him in another comedy, I'm all on board.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, Cruise is pretty good at that himself.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just want to see. He's got to run. He's got to have a Tom Cruise running scene because he runs in every movie.
Absolutely, nobody runs better than Tom Cruise.
They don't.
I'll agree with that.
Even in Vanilla Sky, I think he ran in that too. He just runs.
He didn't run in Tropic Thunder, but he did do some dancing.
That was kind of creepy.
That was creepy dancing.
So funny.
Robert De Niro and Michael Douglas are teaming up for a movie called Las Vegas. It's a film about a bunch of old bastards who head to Sin City for one more night of debauchery before Michael Douglas ties a knot. And it was just released that Morgan Freeman is also in talks to join the cast. So it's basically the Hangover for the AARP crowd.
The Hangover bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Michael Douglas doing more acting. I mean, he's not really been around too much, so. But it's
he was dying. I mean, he had cancer and stuff.
Whatever. People can get around that shit.
People can get around it.
Yeah,
Walk it off, Mike.
Put some Windex on it.
You're Michael Douglas. You got people. Hey, take care of this death illness here while I do some work.
Get that tussin into the bone. Get that Robitussin in the bone.
Put some Windex on that cancer.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting to see.
But yeah, it's but what I mean, like I say, it's kind of like Hangover. I mean, because first it was Hangover, then it was Bridesmaids. That was basically billed as Hangover with women. Mm-hmm. And now you got the Hangover with sexagenarians. Boom! Yeah, I even looked up. That's the proper use of that word.
I'm more impressed with the way you hang your G's. The hangover. The hangover.
I gotta make fun of his southern roots, man.
I love how Brian says theater. I've told you that before.
Theater?
Theater. I love that.
Theater. Theater.
Brian, you don't have to put up with this shit.
I hate both of you.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I honestly love the way you say it.
He loves it. It makes him all tingly. You can see him. Well, you can't see him, but I can see him. He's getting pretty happy.
Go choke on a pop.
Or Coke. Even though it's not filmed yet, Anchorman 2 is going to have a teaser trailer before The Dictator.
This almost makes me want to see Dictator a little bit more just to see that trailer.
The movie's not even started. They haven't even started making it.
Well, I know, but I mean,
they don't have to.
They don't have to, honestly. They did the little promo on Conan, and that was hilarious. He's a character. I mean, they can just throw something together and slap Anchorman 2 on it, and people are going to get excited. Ron Burgundy sells as a character. He's really funny.
Yeah.
So,
does anybody not want to see this movie?
Only those people who are a little dead inside.
It makes me want to go back and watch the first one again.
Really?
So funny. Oh, I thought it was great.
San Diego.
Whale's vagina.
I want to see it, but it scares me.
Yeah.
It's Anchorman was so good. It was so good by itself. It's been so long since Anchorman that it may be too long, and it just may be going to the well a little bit too late.
Possibly, but I'm optimistic. Cautiously optimistic.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, fuck caution. I want to see it.
go have some Black Panther and take it easy. What's that what's called? Sex Panther. Sex Panther.
70% of the time, it works every time.
I think it's 60%. We talked a few weeks back about White House Down, the new Roland Emmerich flick about a Secret Service agent trying to protect the president while trapped in the White House, very much a la Die Hard. And apparently, Channing Tatum is in talks to be that Secret Service agent. Apparently, it's Secret Service week.
I wish I liked Channing Tatum more, and I'm sure that he was funny in 21 Jump Street, but there is just something about him that just kind of puts me off, and especially in an action type role, which you would think for his physique and his abilities, that would be what he should be doing. But there's just something about him. He just doesn't quite strike me as a tough guy. I don't know if I can buy him anymore. If comedy, sure, I keep it that play against type, but I don't know. I can certainly no more interested in this film now than I was before. So I guess he's not hurting it any, but he's not helping it for me either.
I think Justin was bullied as a kid.
Would you shut up? Talk about that.
I think he's good. I like Channing Tatum.
Him too. Did you see Haywire?
No.
His action scenes in that were awesome.
And his action scenes in 21 Jump Street are pretty good. And G.I. Joe, he was the only thing I liked in the first one. So
he's all right. I don't know what it is. There's just something about him doesn't do it for me.
You're jealous of his pouty lips.
Could be.
You may be lucky because Gerard Butler he's making one that's very similar to it at the same time.
Gerald Butler?
No, Gerard
Butler, dumbass.
He's making something similar to what? This movie?
Yeah, he's actually an ex-Secret Service agent who must foil a terrorist attack on the president's residence.
Oh, totally different. It's totally
Yeah.
different.
One version, Channing Tatum's inside the White House. The other version, Gerard Butler's outside the White
It
House.
sounds like Vanilla Ice, and this song's totally different than the Queen version.
I don't.
Did you hear? Oh, forget it.
That's
we
not
go completely
comparable.
off on a tangent.
That totally doesn't. I don't really think that's comparable. How does Vanilla Ice come into this conversation?
It's the same
How
song.
does he get out of it? That's what I want to know.
All right, stop. Collaborate and listen.
Social Network's Aaron Sorkin. God, I don't believe that just happened. Social Network's Aaron Sorkin is writing the biopic, however you prefer to say it,
Biopic.
on Steve Jobs, which is based on Walter Isaacson's book about the legendary pioneer. This is not the film Michael Stern is doing called Jobs, the one that stars that thespian, Ashton Kutcher. This is actually a totally different movie.
Well, Sorkin's he's a highly regarded writer, and I'm sure this is going to garner lots of attention. But this other one that's being made, they're starting filming this week. They haven't even started writing the other one. So I don't know. Maybe maybe one of these will end up being the deep impact to Armageddon or something. I don't know.
I don't know which way to take that. Which
One's
the
got Harry Stamper,
Which one's the deep impact?
the best damn deep core driller.
Well, potentially it could be. Aaron Sorkin's may be better written, but it's coming. It's obviously going to come out later. So
kind of like how Deep Impact was better written, but Armageddon did better.
They both were very deep, very deep.
Deep Impact sucked.
But Morgan Freeman
I
was
don't know.
president.
I don't know why you would go ahead and start this when you've already got another one that's so far along. They're practically halfway done with it. They've got to start shooting. They haven't even sat down to write it.
But that one seems more like a rush job. Aaron Sorkin, he wrote The Social Network, and I think he can really grasp the technology and actually make it riveting. Whereas I don't think the current, granted I haven't seen the script and I haven't seen anything, and Ashton Kutcher could be a revelation. Nothing I've seen in any of his repertoire would convince me of that. But he could be. It could happen. But I would be more akin to wait for an Aaron Sorkin movie because I think he can bring the verbal dynamic that would make the movie interesting. Because Steve Jobs, his life story, while great and pioneering, isn't really exciting.
I was going to say, is there a whole lot of drama in there like there was with the
I don't care who's writing it.
Oh, there will be.
I don't give a shit about either one of them. I'm a disciple in the Church of Apple. Don't get me wrong, but I really couldn't. I'm not going to spend $10 to go see a movie about Steve Jobs.
Hater.
Yeah.
Already saw Noah Weil play him, so.
All right. I like how quickly Brian said, yeah, I'm a hater. Well, we usually don't get into this because, it's more along the lines of gossip and stuff, and I don't really care about that. These guys don't care because I ask them not to. But it's,
Yes, master.
it's pretty much a juggernaut, and several people have asked myself, and I don't know about you guys, but how much money the guys in the Avengers are making. So I looked into it and I found an article, found out how much. Sources.
You went to your sources?
I went to my sources. My sources on the street. Word on the street is that the other superheroes in Avengers are going to pocket between $2 to $3 million with bonuses for the Avengers, while Robert Downey Jr. is rumored to be making about $50 million total.
That blows my mind.
That sounds about right.
He's the most popular guy.
Yeah.
He's the only one that can open a movie by himself.
Well, if you consider, though, that if Iron Man had flopped, none of the rest of these films would probably fucking matter. Mm-hmm. You have to get that keystone, that first one out there and successful before the rest of these can be put in. If he had not succeeded and if that movie had failed, there would be no Avengers, most likely. There wouldn't be any of these other films. Marvel probably just would have chalked it up to a lesson, learned and moved on. But because he was so good, it succeeded like gangbusters. And even though Iron Man 2 didn't do well critically, it did pretty damn well financially.
Yeah, it was a huge hit financially.
And he's the biggest name star in these movies. So I think it's only appropriate that he, get the lion's share of the bonuses.
Yeah, he's definitely the anchor for sure.
Yeah, and I have no complaint about it whatsoever. I just thought it was shocking that it was that great a difference.
It's 3 to 4 times everybody else combined.
Yeah.
Of the Avengers themselves.
Yeah, he made of just the superhero value pack, he got the most.
He probably has the better agents too. So,
well, I guess what it is after Iron Man became such a monster hit, his agents jumped in there and renegotiated so that he had a bigger share of other earnings, bonus participation and that sort of thing, based on what the grosses were overseas. And Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth just don't have that kind of power yet. Mm-hmm. Their only hit are these movies. He had Sherlock Holmes to fall back on, and I don't think they had him locked up as much as they hoped. So,
yeah, if the rest of them have been in Weird Science, maybe they'd be making this money too.
That's true. He's not making less than zero. I can tell you that.
Oh.
Really? You can do it? I can't do it?
Oh.
All right.
I didn't use the movie name as a pun.
I'm sorry that was so awful.
I'm too.
Now let's head over to...
Welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. All right, so just in time for erection season. Sorry.
Just keep
For me, it's always in season.
keep going.
Just in time for election season, The Campaign, starring Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, which is about an entrenched congressman who's used to running unopposed, and now all of a sudden he's being challenged by this dim-witted opponent. This thing looked really funny. I don't know, Justin, have you seen this yet?
I'm going to say something that's probably going to piss off a lot of people. I don't find Zach Galifianakis all that funny. He was okay in The Hangover, but it seems like everything he does is always just kind of the same character. And maybe it's just because it's him and he really can't do anything else. But he always plays just these kind of loner misfit weirdos. And Will Ferrell looks fine. The movie looks funny, but Zach Galifianakis just doesn't do it for me.
So I disagree.
He kind of is turning me off to this.
I disagree a little bit because I think he actually looks like he's playing he's still an awkward character, but he's not the guy from The Hangover. He's not the guy from Due Date. He's not overly exaggerated. He's more of a quiet, laid-back, dim-witted guy.
It could just be him.
Yeah.
And if it is, and sorry, Zach, I don't mean anything. Don't take offense. I'm just not a fan of him in much of anything he's done. Hangover, he was fine. Hangover 2 was just kind of more of the same. And everything else has just kind of been meh for me. So, in Will Ferrell, I trust him. I don't know. I'll have to see a little more and hear a little more before I want to get too excited about this one.
I'm way more excited about seeing this than that Spanish movie he's made. My father's...
I'd agree.
That looks terrible.
I want to see this. I love politics, though.
Right.
I mean, I love politics. I love political movies. I don't usually like the comedies because they're very, very rarely actually funny. But this looks kind of nice. I mean, it's Will Ferrell being an outlandish congressman or whatever. And then Zach Galifianakis, kind of like Justin says, doing the exact same thing he always does, which is playing an idiot, really. A nice, sweet idiot, but he's still an idiot. I want to see it, but I kind of agree with him that I'm kind of getting sick of him. I don't really think Zach is that funny. I think he's one of those guys where he's great in 15 minutes of a movie, but you put him in 2 hours of a movie, and he starts to grate on your nerves.
Yeah, I hear you.
I've seen him do stand-up. I didn't think it was all that funny either.
I don't think he's funny on stand-up at all.
I would sooner see this role kind of go more to a Patton Oswalt, who I think is fucking hysterical.
He has moments.
Acting and in stand-up.
I think I'd like to see that. But I think Zach Galifianakis has the bigger name. They'll sell more than...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
All right, well, since we've been pretty heavy with the politics and stuff here, with all the talk of, elections and White House being attacked and all that, our next film, Argo, really doesn't fall too far from this tree. So Argo is the true story of the life or death covert operation to rescue 6 Americans, which unfolded behind the scenes of the Iran hostage crisis, the truth of which was unknown by the public for decades. And I hate to say it, but I've got to give props to Ben Affleck on this one. It looks like he's really putting out a pretty good movie. Scott, you don't remember too much about the Iran hostage crisis, do you?
Not too much, no. and I'm one of those that's not too big on political espionage or, get him out of there kind of movies. And halfway through this trailer, I was like, oh, here we go, just another one of those. But then when they throw in the twist of what's actually going on, which is a true story I'm not familiar with, where they're making a fake movie and sending a fake crew in there to go rescue him, I'm on board. And especially with Affleck's last movie that he directed and acted in,
The Town,
which was I was surprised at how much I liked that. I think he's got a lot of talent behind the camera and behind the behind the pen. So I'm intrigued. I don't know if I'll go see it in the theater, but I definitely will. I do want to see it.
I think it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this story either, so shame on me, I guess, because I was alive, I guess. Well, Scott was just.
Well, we were kids, but
what
Scott
year was it?
I don't know, 79,
actually,
80?
Well, the Iran hostage crisis was from the end of 1979 through 1981. It was like 450 days that these people were held hostage.
So I was like 8.
Yeah, we were all pretty young.
I like the trailer. My only worry about it is that it shifts tones several times, and that always kind of leaves me wondering exactly what kind of film am I in for, because it starts off pretty serious. And then once the whole idea of making a fake film gets brought in, it suddenly takes on a really light comedic tone, but then it shifts back to more of a serious one towards the end. And so if the not that a trailer needs to tell me what the whole movie is going to be about or what it's going to feel like, I still like to get a general sense of, am I in for a comedy? Am I in for an action film? What exactly is it that I should kind of be expecting? And I have no idea, based on that trailer, what this film is really going for. I'm going to assume it's going to be more serious than funny, but it kind of threw me off a little bit, I have to say.
I agree. The tone was messing me up. I honestly, it went from serious political thriller to Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
And then to, what was that John Travolta movie where he was the mobster and he went to Hollywood?
Oh,
Urban
Get Shorty?
Shorty.
Get Shorty, yeah.
Urban Cowboy!
What did he say?
Urban Cowboy.
Oh, God. No, Get Shorty.
Yeah, Get Shorty. It was very much like a Get Shorty vibe. So it felt like we're trying to make a serious movie, but we're making it in Hollywood, so it's absurd. And then it starts getting serious again. So really, I could see what Justin's saying. It's very all over the place.
All right, well, cool. Well, you guys can catch these trailers and those from recent episodes at thehollywoodoutsider.com. And if you've got any thoughts or any topic ideas, you can always find us on Twitter at _outsider. You can check us out on Facebook at The Hollywood Outsider.
So make sure you say that right, because people got confused. It's facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider.
Okay. Like, anybody, don't know how to get to fucking Facebook.
Apparently some people do, because I got an email.
Like us at facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider, or you can email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com.
Stump the Hoe.
Stump the Hoe is our weekly contest where each week one of our hosts poses a trivia question to the remaining hosts in an attempt to stump their fellow hoes. Hoe stands for Hollywood Outsider, not actual prostitutes. This week, it is Justin's turn. Justin?
All right. Well, I knew we were going to be talking about Argo, and being a Ben Affleck film, I wanted to make my question Ben Affleck-centric. And, of course, his most critically acclaimed movie has to be Daredevil. So I thought I'd go to that one and try and find a little trivia, and I ended up finding some trivia that led to another one of my great loves, Vin Diesel. And interestingly enough, Vin Diesel was heavily sought after for the film Daredevil, both to either play Daredevil or Bullseye, either one. But he declined either part so that he could be involved in another film. What was that film? Was it A, Fast and the Furious, B, Knock Around Guys, C, The Iron Giant, D, Pitch Black? Aaron, you go first.
So he abstained from Daredevil for one of those movies?
Yes. And all 4 of those films came out in the same 2-year period, around the same time as Daredevil. So don't try and figure it out by the year.
What were the options? Fast and the Furious, Iron Giant, Knocked Up. What was the
A,
fourth one?
Fast and the Furious. B, Knock Around Guys. C, The Iron Giant. D, Pitch Black. And stop trying to Google it.
Did I say Knocked Up? I don't Google. I don't cheat. Did I say knocked up?
I think you did.
Oops. That would be much funnier with him instead of Seth Rogen. I will go with Pitch Black.
Okay, Scotty?
I hate it when I go second because I always want to.
Because you want to curtail on ours?
Well, I don't.
Coattail, rather?
Coattail, curtail, whatever.
It's coming down the pike, whatever it is.
Tomato, potato.
Yeah, but I was going to say Pitch Black, so I'm going to go with that as well.
And Brian?
All right, I'll do something different here. I'll say Knock Around Guys.
All right, well, you'll hear the answer to that later on in the show.
All right, so stick around. Let's go on to the big screen. Scotty?
All right, going to do a quick recap of last week. You guys remember episode 41 last week was Avengers Ho-Semble. The releases that came out last week were Battleship, which was Justin, Brian, and my pick for the week. Aaron decided to ride on the coattails of his shitty pick from the previous week.
Or curtail, but whatever.
Coattail, where he picked Dark Shadows and decided to keep that theme going and pick The Dictator as his pick. So
I never picked Dark Shadows as my pick.
You didn't?
I just went and saw it. That doesn't mean I picked
Oh, you
it.
just went and saw it, yeah. The only movie you saw.
God Bless America was my pick. Yeah.
Which you didn't see. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And the other release was What to Expect When You're Expecting.
Which nobody picked because we hate children.
Well, yeah. I'm going to, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we had a review of The Avengers, which we all gave glowing reviews, and that we had an Avengers spoiler cast at the end of the episode, so be sure to check that
I saw
out.
it a third time. It was still so good.
Yeah?
Wow.
Yes.
Well, we're not going to do an Avengers cast again. So
Damn.
let's go into reviewing new releases. This week, Justin and Scott saw God Bless America. How was it?
Oh, this movie was great. This movie was a lot of fun. Pretty much what I expected. Frank is a main character, finds out he's got cancer, he's depressed, he gets fired from his job. He's about to commit suicide, and he's watching a reality TV show that's remarkably similar to, what is it, My Super Sweet 16 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Girl is awarded on her 16th birthday a brand new car, and she gets upset because it's not the one she wanted, the more expensive one. And the guy just basically, something goes off in his brain, and he decides that mean people need to be removed from this world, and drives down to wherever she lives. It was at Virginia Beach, and kills her right there in front of her high school. And it's witnessed by.
Why are we laughing? That's just sad. But go ahead.
No, that's funny.
It is kind of funny.
She's a bitch. She deserved it.
And so this murder is witnessed by another 16-year-old girl who winds up teaming up with Frank to go on a massacre across the country of all people that they both believe are mean. What makes this movie interesting is that they're not just going after people that are stupid or suck. It's just Frank is more obsessed with killing people that are just not nice, basically.
Really?
And there's a lot of fun dialogue with it as far as going back and forth about who they like and who they don't like. There's some nearly awkward moments with, this is a guy in his late 40s, early 50s that's tooling around town with a 16-year-old girl in a yellow Mustang. It's a lot of fun. The acting is subpar, in my opinion. Frank was pretty good, but the girl that played his cohort was a little off, and some of it you can just tell that they were acting. I don't know how to describe it anymore, but Justin, I've been dying to know what you thought of this because I had a blast with it. But what did you like it?
I liked it. I didn't like it as much as I hoped that I would. I think the main reason is kind of linked to what you were just saying. The acting, a lot of the dialogue that they have to give, especially Joel Murray, is so polemic, and it sounded almost like he was reading a prepared speech.
Yep.
And not really speaking from his heart or his gut. And so a lot of those acting moments, they just felt like they were reading sides to each other as opposed to actually just talking. And so quite often that character, Joel Murray's playing feels like he's more a mouthpiece for the writer and director of the film, Bobcat Goldthwait, and not an actual character. He's just kind of an avatar through which Bobcat's going to say the things that he's feeling. And so it kind of takes a little bit away from the earnestness of the film and the heart of it. But that said, you also brought up something else that I didn't expect and found incredibly interesting, which was that dynamic between his character and the young girl. I didn't anticipate, and I probably should have, but I didn't anticipate this unexpected sort of, not sexual tension
Close.
in the way that you would normally think of it, in which the tension is good. Because in this film, his character, the older guy, feels genuinely uncomfortable with the way that she is acting towards him, and kind of seeing her acting in a way that's older than she should be, and as though she's a bit of that same type of young person acting the way they shouldn't be. And so he doesn't know how to react to her. And that plays off in the film in ways I didn't see coming. But my favorite part of the film was when they went after these Westboro Baptist types.
Yep.
Because I try not to ever really have, it's as sarcastic as I can be. I try to never have hate in my heart for anyone, because it's too exhausting to hate people. Westboro Baptist group is probably one of the few people that I am more than comfortable hating. And if some massive fire were to kill every single one of them, not a tear would be shed, in my house over those sons of bitches. And so to see that kind of character just drive by and kill all of them, a part of me had to stand up and cheer. And so that moment was a really kind of nice thing, because I want to see those people suffer.
Wait, why
And
do you
see
hate?
a movie version of them suffer was very nice.
Why do you hate those people so much?
Because the Westboro Baptist people are
Don't make it an hour and a half. Just
they're nothing but hate. They're nothing but hate. But they cloak their hatred in religious talk. And I know a lot of religious people, they do not talk the way these people do. They're filled with nothing but darkness.
Oh.
And so to see these hypocritical sons of bitches killed in a film was so satisfying. So that moment really, I kind of had to cheer for. But all in all, I enjoyed the film. It's not one that I'm going to return to often. I would watch it again, but not too soon. I actually watched it through iTunes, so I didn't have to go to a theater. I could enjoy it in my home. And if I was to rate it, 1 out of $10, I'd give it a 6, maybe a 7. Could have been better, but it could have been a heck of a lot worse. So all in all, I enjoyed it.
And the movie doesn't pull any punches either. Like, the first 5 minutes of this movie is mouth-droppingly WTF. Did I just see that happen?
Yeah, and it talks so much to the shit we all feel.
Yeah.
About this rise in our culture, our celebrating of the mediocre and the talentless and the media hungry, and just how that drags us as a people down. And I so some of his speeches, while entirely overly written, I could still completely agree with what he was saying.
Yeah, I just wish they were delivered a little better, kind of like what you said earlier. Also, the girl that played the 16-year-old girl, I didn't buy her as being 16 for a second.
No, she plays a little older. She's no Chloe Moretz, but she's all right.
Brian.
yeah, Brian. We say Chloe Moretz, and Brian gets creepy.
I liked her, but no, she seemed a bit old for that part.
What'd you give it, Scott?
I actually gave it a 7.
Really? So you guys both like it.
I did. It's not one, like you said, is super rewatchable, but it's one that'd be fun to watch with someone else that hasn't seen it, just to kind of get their.
Yeah.
I like watching movies that get people's reactions, and you'll definitely get reactions out of this.
Well, I saw Dark Shadows.
On purpose?
I did. It wasn't my pick, but I figured we should review it for the show. But I went at 10 in the morning. And apparently at 10 in the morning, that is when the retirement home lets out for weekend passes. And all the 80-year-old guys go to see Dark Shadows. So that's what I ran into. Johnny Depp stars in Tim Burton's Dark Shadows, so it is a Tim Burton movie. Many of you might not remember it, but Dark Shadows was a cheesy soap opera from the 60s. This movie is just a complete reinvention of that show. Johnny Depp plays Barnabas Collins. He was the son of the tycoon that built this town called Collinsport, Maine. And Barnabas basically is a young man, and he ends up rejecting the it's like his handmaiden or whatever in the house that loves him and whatnot, and they have like a little torrid affair, but she loves him and he doesn't love her. He ends up falling in love with a different lady, so he rejects her. So Angelique is the woman he rejects, played by Eva Green, and she casts a spell on him that turns him into a vampire.
Oh, she didn't need to cast a spell on me.
She looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So she kills Barnabas' one true love with a spell, and then proceeds to trap his ass in a coffin for 200 years. So then you flash forward to 1972, when Barnabas' descendants are pretty much in financial ruins thanks to the somehow still alive and still angry and spiteful Angelique. This bitch is really angry about him not wanting none.
Been there.
So the family actually includes. I'm just going to keep going. The family actually includes Michelle Pfeiffer, who still looks great. I mean, and I don't know if it's plastic surgery or what, but she looks fantastic for her age. I mean, she's got to be what, 80, 85?
Why do you got to qualify that?
Well, she looks great.
She's a pretty woman, no matter the age.
She's an attractive because when she's 75 years old, I think she looks pretty good.
Well, yeah, and Tim Burton is kind of known for special effects. So.
She looked great in Stardust too.
Oh boy! And Brian's creepy crush, Chloe Moretz, plays Michelle Pfeiffer's niece in the movie.
I wish she, because she had only saw like one
She
small
looks
scene.
really horny through most of the movie. Truthfully,
Brian's like,
Ryan's in.
please.
Brian's like, I got some dark shadows to show you. Barnabas, hey, I can't help it. He's the one that thinks it. Barnabas is released from captivity, and basically he comes back and he wants to restore his family to their former glory, make their money back and everything else, and also get a little revenge in the process. That's the movie. It's what it's about. If you saw the show, you know what tone they're going for. It's very much like a campy seriousness. I didn't really, I wasn't a fan of it, but I honestly think if you are a fan of it, you'll like it, because the old half-dead people that were there, they seem to enjoy it. They were all clapping, and I didn't know what they were clapping at. I think they're just happy to be alive. It's like, yay, we made it another day.
Well, they were trying to keep awake.
They were wide awake. It was 10 in the morning. It was just so sad. But from what I remember, it seemed very much like the show. It's very campy and campy seriousness. So they were trying to capture that. I think they did capture it. As a movie for 2012, though, it really never got better than mediocre. The main thing I had a real problem with was why they set the movie in 1972. Because outside of the jokes you see in the trailers, it is irrelevant, completely irrelevant. It makes no sense to set it there. The time frame doesn't do anything other than say this is what time the show was on the air. So I don't know why they did that. It just
Because it's Tim Burton, and it's got to be quirky, and the 70s are quirky.
I think you're right, actually. It
course
seemed,
I'm right.
It seemed, of course I'm right, really. There's very little mention of the time, and it's just not relevant to the story at all. It's very much a gimmick. So I can see why quirky ass has to have it there, but I don't know. It seems to me it would be more interesting to make it in the current day. To make this ludicrous, campy vampire just running around in today's technology, technology, Twilight obsessed culture, I think that would be more fun than going to yeah, it would be more fun than 1972. Just random. Johnny Depp and Eva Green were both great. They were both fantastic. They were the best actors in the whole movie. They both chewed up scenery like it was breakfast, and almost simultaneously made this movie better than it should be, because everybody else was just kind of okay. Pfeiffer and Moretz were good, but they were a little over the top in parts. Johnny Depp knew who his character was supposed to be, and he stuck to it through the whole movie. I mean, he never blinked or faltered. Eva Green, same thing. I've never seen her as a villain. I've seen her in a few other movies, including The Dreamers. And if you really think she's attractive, find The Dreamers. That's one you want to watch. Have you seen that movie, Justin?
No.
You should find that movie.
Put it on my queue.
I was just to say, he put it on his instant queue.
She's great. So her and Johnny Depp, fantastic. Tim Burton, he's got a quirky eye for visual detail. So, I mean, it still looks great, but he has totally slipped on how to tell a story. And I know we've talked about it before, and Justin obviously has a hate club going for him. I don't hate the man. I just think he's just not great anymore. Mm-hmm. He used to be quirky. Now he's trying to be quirky. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think it's working anymore. I think he lets the story suffer for his quirkiness, and it affects the movie itself. So overall, I would say it's not a bad movie. It revels in the campy tones of the series. So if you're a really big fan of the show, you'll probably like it. It just never really becomes more entertaining than a few colorful characters. So $10 is the full price of admission. This one's worth $5.50. Boom. Now we're up to the speed round. That's where anything we saw, we just talk about, and we try to keep it to about a minute. Brian, you saw Ironclad. How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's kind of a Magnificent Seven-ish story about a Templar and his kind of hodgepodge of these different types of warriors, and they defend this castle against a months-long siege by King John shortly after he signs the Magna Carta. So they basically they're just them struggling to fight them off in defense of freedom for their country. It stars James Purefoy, Paul Giamatti, Brian Cox, and a very sexy Kate Mara. It's pretty graphic. You've seen the plot 100 times over, so it's nothing really new, but it is entertaining, especially if you're looking for a filler in between Game of Thrones episodes. So I'd give it probably a $6 out of 10, and you can find it on Netflix.
Is that very much that kind of movie? It's in that vein of the show, Game of Thrones?
There's a couple of actors from Game of Thrones in it. The guy that plays Tywin Lannister, Charles Dance. It just kind of feels like it a little bit, but okay. It is darker, kind of grittier, but again, it's worth checking out. It's worth a rental. It's worth checking it out on Netflix.
Okay. So. Well, I saw Contraband. That's Marky Mark's new movie, where he plays, well, it's new to DVD and Blu-ray. He plays Chris Faraday. He's that guy that long ago ditched his criminal ways, and now his brother-in-law gets in trouble, so he's got to come back for that one last score. You know, that plot that's in every Marky Mark movie. So,
speaking of plots that you've seen 100 times,
yes. So basically, he heads to Panama to bring back millions in counterfeit bills. These stupid thugs threaten his family while he's gone. That's it. That's the plot. That's the whole movie.
Is Kate Beckinsale naked or half naked at any point?
She is not.
Fuck, all right. Moving on.
Justin's still waiting for that to happen in one of these movies.
It's not going to happen, man. Mark Wahlberg, Ben Foster, and Kate Beckinsale are fine. They're all in this movie. They're fine. But this is a completely run-of-the-mill thriller. Mark Wahlberg is the exact same guy he is in every Mark Wahlberg movie. He's got charisma, no doubt about it. The guy's a movie star. But he's the same guy every movie. There's nothing special about it. It's not an action movie either. If you saw the trailers, ignore them because they paint it like this is going to be like some kind of action thrill ride and Marky Mark's going to get vengeance and fuck some people up. He does not. He spends almost the whole movie on a boat. When he goes to get the bills and when he comes back. And then his family's being threatened all while he's on this boat. So if you want to see riveting excitement like Marky Mark on a boat, then prepare. Because it's rude.
That sounds like a Lonely Island song.
He's riding dolphins and doing flips and shit.
In the deep blue sea.
There are a few tense scenes. Giovanni Ribisi shows up as the guy that's threatening the family. And I don't know why this guy has to try to be as quirky. I guess we're stuck on that word this show. He tries to be as quirky as he can be in every movie now because he used to be a really good actor. Now he's just that guy that's always over the top. And that's what he is in this movie, too. So it's very much an average flick. I give it 5 out of 10. You can do better. Now let's go to box office. The Avengers, coincidentally, is still holding on strong. It made $103 million last weekend. And it's heading for about $550 to $600 million domestically. And it just passed $1 billion worldwide already. Already.
First movie to ever make $100 million second weekend.
Well, it's 19 days, actually, because it was overseas week before. But it's $1 billion, and it's your move, Batman, because that's the only other franchise they think can come close to catching it this year.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think it will either. Dark Shadows opened to $29.6 million, which normally that would be okay. That would be good. But when the number one movie was like 3 times that in its second weekend, that kind of makes you look pretty bad. But
and they really should have gone to see the Avengers again anyway.
Leave it to Justin. I bet you if we just left you alone, you'd just say, Joss Whedon, Joss Whedon, Joss Whedon.
And just rub my nipples. Or something.
All right. It's time to see what's on the way with Justin's upcoming attractions.
Get ready for it, baby. It's time. Justin's coming. Attractions.
All right. The first one we've got up is Chernobyl Diaries. This is a horror film directed by Bradley Parker, though by the way they've been throwing around Paranormal Activity's Oren Peli's name, you'd be easily forgiven for thinking he did it, because I know I did. The Oren Peli did co-produce it and co-write it. The film follows a group of 6 young tourists who hire an extreme tour guide to take them in the city of Pripyat, which is where the former home of the workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant and their families lived. But it's now a ghost town following the meltdown over at Reactor 4 in 1986. I remember when that happened, and yeah, no. After a brief exploration of the abandoned city, however, the group soon finds themselves stranded, only to discover that they're being hunted by strange beings who appear to have been mutated due to radiation exposure and now live in the city. This group's only escape is a hike to the outer regions of the area. I'm sure that's going to go real well. Now, Scotty, considering the toxic levels of alcohol that you ingest on a fairly regular basis, this sort of thing has to be right up your alley. What do you think?
Nicely played, sir. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing this, not only because of the paranormal activity aspect of it with the director of that who is producing this. Is that right?
Co-produced, co-wrote.
Co-produced, co-wrote. Looks like a lot of fun. I particularly like that in the trailer they're not giving away too much information. I think we mentioned about that when the trailer first came out. Looks like a lot of fun. I love seeing these kind of movies in theaters, especially on opening weekend. So I'm pretty certain I'll be seeing this one.
Yeah, I like it too. I'm glad that it's not a found footage movie. I'm glad Oren Peli's not going back to that particular well, but it still looks to have a really good sense of those horror thrills and chills. I'm looking forward to it. The rest of you looking forward to it?
I think it looks good, man. I actually might see this over what your next film's going to be, because I think it's something a little different, and it's not the same crap I've been seeing for the last few months.
Yeah, I want to see it. Just it's the gamer inside of me. I think I brought this up a few weeks ago.
You want to play Stalker for real?
The the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare game was filmed in a lot of these same areas. So a lot of those maps, a lot of the storyline that you're actually playing was actually filmed in Pripyat. And so just to kind of see these actual locations that I've quote unquote run through, and I think it'd just be kind of neat. So
cool. Well, this isn't the official Thread podcast, so we'll move on. Men in Black 3
is awesome.
That's the best game podcast ever.
That's what I hear. That's the word on the street. Men in Black 3 is next. It's a sci-fi action comedy directed once again by Barry Sonnenfeld and starring Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, and an amazingly younger Tommy Lee Jones lookalike, Josh Brolin. This one's released 10 years after that disaster known as Men in Black 2, with a veteran MIB field agent Jay learning that Agent K's life and the fate of Earth are at stake, so he must time travel to 1969 to team up with a younger version of Agent K and stop an alien criminal named Boris from assassinating K and changing the course of history of the planet, while also facing a 24-hour time limit before he'll be trapped in the past. Sounds legit. Now, Brian, I really don't have a witty segue here, so just jump on this like a pig on a June bug and tell us what you think.
What? Pig on a June bug?
Yeah, not exactly sure what that means, but Josh, but I'm with you. Josh Brolin is eerily just like Tommy Lee Jones, and I kind of want to see it just for that, just because he does a phenomenal job of portraying a younger Tommy Lee Jones, and these are usually fun movies, so it'll be a good summer segue movie between Avengers and the rest of the ones coming out for the blockbuster season. So
summertime movies for me are a lot.
Summertime.
Summer movies are a lot of fun for me because my wife and I have different types of movies. Right, I know. Yep. Well, I like all types of different movies, but my wife has.
You might like more if you went together.
Well, that's kind of my point here, is that this is a movie that we both are going to enjoy, and I'm really looking forward to going and seeing it because I didn't like the second one a whole lot, but it was one that we went together and saw, and I'm looking forward to going and seeing this one for us to actually enjoy a movie together, because I drag her to all sorts of goofy stuff that she doesn't like, and and then she complains about it. So I'm looking forward to taking her one that I know she's going to like.
I'll be honest with you. If it was a Saturday and you came to my house and you saw me wearing the dress that I normally would wear on a Saturday, it would not blow up. I have no desire to see this at all. Nothing. This does not blow my skirt up. I don't like it. I don't care. I don't want to see it. I saw Men in Black 2. It sucked balls. It's been 10 years. I don't want to see it.
Man, Aaron Peterson being grouchy.
I don't
fucking saw that coming.
Look,
That never happens, ever.
I'm taking off my hater crown and passing it to you.
I don't understand what all the why. Look, it's been 10 years. It's not outside of Josh Brolin playing a young Tommy Lee Jones.
Looks so
What's
good.
new about it? It's the same movie I've already saw, and the second one was so bad it made me not want to go back to this. Now, granted, the trailer is okay, but it doesn't harken back. What's the word? Fuck, I'm looking
Harken,
for. Thank you.
yes.
Jeez, I can't think of words tonight.
Curtail.
Tonight.
It doesn't curtail to the original Men in Black, which I thought was a fantastic movie. I loved the first one. I despised the second one just because it was so bad. And the trailer doesn't convince me, outside of the fact that Josh Brolin looks really interesting, doesn't convince me that it's worth seeing. And I'll wait for reviews, and if reviews and you guys come back and say, hey, this was a great movie, I'll probably go see it. Or if my wife says, hey, we're going to go see it, then I'll probably see it also. But it's just not something I'm dying to see. I'm sorry, I'm such a hater.
I'm really interested in seeing it. The trailers have kind of sold me on it, and I hated the second one too, just like everybody else did. It was a complete piece of shit, waste of time, waste of money. But if they can somehow recapture the magic from the first one, tell a new story, sure, why not? I'm not going to be drinking any haterade for this one.
I already drank it all.
You did. You drank it all and left none. So, of these two films, guys, which one are you most likely and most interested to see? Aaron, of course, we can already pick yours. Chernobyl Diaries.
Mm-hmm. But
Brian?
thanks for giving me the option,
Sure.
asshole.
Well, you already pretty much just said it, so I don't want to waste time.
Chernobyl.
And Scotty,
I'm going to go Men in Black, surely because I like enjoying movies with other people.
So I don't like enjoying movies with other people if I don't want to see it?
No, I'm
Okay.
just saying for me. I
no,
enjoy
they don't
movies
like
more
enjoying
when
it
I'm.
with you because you're just gonna sit there in the theater.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Stupid.
I know I'm here.
Who talked me into this?
Get off my lawn!
I've actually got to give my vote to Men in Black.
Look at that.
Chernobyl
That's a good
Diaries, I'm
decision.
sure, is cool, but it's also one of those films that I think I want to watch at home, and put it up on the big plasma, turn off the lights, and kind of enjoy it by myself, and not let even though some horror movies really work well with a group, especially like the paranormal movies do. I don't know if this one will. I'd prefer to kind of see it at home, but Men in Black, it looks fun. It looks funny, and after getting all those laughs in the Avengers, I don't know, I kind of like laughing in a theater again.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go, 2-on-2.
Okay. Well, thank you, Justin. Now for
You're
this
welcome.
What's this movie?
for this week's What's This Movie? Each week we have we play a little movie clip and give you guys the chance to see if you can guess what it is. And if you guess it right, we read your name on the air and give you a little plug. Last week's answer was Bubba Hotep.
Seems like everybody fucking knew that.
No, there's people who got it wrong. But Bubba Hotep was very much a cult movie, so if you didn't get it, don't feel bad. But if you got it, yeah. So I want to say congratulations to Lucas C., Micah H., John Dr., Scott M., and Dustin B. Now, what would you want to say, Justin?
Yeah. You kind of threw me off with that. I apologize. Not quite sure where to go with that.
All right, well, this week it was Brian's turn, so this was selected by him. We had a couple requests for us to make it a little harder, so we'll see if this... No, the clip. God.
I'm so sorry. I'm such an infant. In my head, it's like, that's what she said. I'm so pathetic.
Here's Brian's clip. If you can guess what it is, you can tweet us at H_outsider or email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. There you go.
If you had to do it all over again, would you make the same choices?
What choice? The last thing I took away from the yeshiva is this. We can't run from who we are. Our destiny chooses us.
Okay, if you think you know what that was, then email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Right now, we are going to... Normally we do TV news, but we're going to talk a lot about TV here in a minute. But we do want to talk about the Desperate Housewives series finale. I'm sorry. So if you haven't seen it and you're looking forward to seeing it, then skip ahead probably 3-4 minutes, or if you just don't give a shit about the show. skip ahead about 3 minutes and we'll be done. But because there will be some spoilers in here, so we've given you a fair warning. So, Justin, you saw it. What the hell happened? What happened to these ladies?
I liked it, and I know as soon as I say this, someone will be sweeping by in a Dodge Charger to take away my man card, but I cried.
You cried?
I did. At the end of it, I cried, and for two reasons. First, there's a beloved character who's been there since the very first season, named Miss McCluskey, who's an older woman, and so she's always kind of played that cantankerous character that watches the goings on of the neighborhood, and she's kind of gone back and forth between being, kind of a hateful person, and then that heart of gold peeks through. But this last season, she developed, I think it was lung cancer. And so this season, her character's arc has been dealing with, this impending death and the older husband that she has, who had been previously married to another woman who had died of cancer. And so there's been a lot involved with that. And in this final episode, of course, as you'd imagine with the show closing out, her character did die. And while, a character like that would normally pull at my heartstrings, but it goes back to the same kind of feeling I got in the opening of Up, where you see this couple that has spent years together, and for suddenly the husband to be left behind while his wife dies, it gets me every fucking time. I vowed that I will die before my wife. I don't know how, but I have to. I will not go through that. So seeing a character do that really made me kind of weepy. But the season has had a lot of ups and downs. It's certainly not been the best season the show's ever had, but it's been an interesting one, and they did at the ending what I really wish more shows would do when they know that it's coming to a close. They were able to write endings that felt satisfying for the characters, and then they spent the last few minutes talking about where these characters go from here. Where Susan moves to live with her daughter and take care of their child, and other characters move on to other cities, and basically the wives of Wisteria Lane move on and they have lives of their own. So it was nice to see that these characters had lives beyond the show, and it was fun to see. And they even, with a little wink to the camera, as a new wife moves on to Wisteria Lane to move into the house that Terry Hatcher's character had lived in. At the very close of it, you see this kind of mysterious moment of her locking this box away and looking really guilty of something. So it ends the show with a mystery that they'll never get to, but I think that's kind of appropriate because that's the exact same way they started the show, with the mystery. Of course, they did get to that one. But all in all, it was a satisfying finale. I really enjoyed it, and I'm kind of sad to see these characters go. I enjoyed watching their stories. It was never a show that I anticipated liking as much as I did, but I did.
I gotta be honest, I won't admit openly that I used to watch the show, but I used to watch it religiously. Mm-hmm. Because my wife wanted to. Yeah,
right,
that was
right.
it. But also because what's her name? The little Latina girl.
Oh, Ava Longoria.
Yes.
God, she is
Ava Longoria
so stunningly good looking.
So good looking. I wanted to be a gardener for the longest time. But the show was really fun for the first few years, and I don't know what happened, but it just got off the rails. Got too soap opera-y for me. So I stopped watching it, but I really wanted to know how they wrapped it up. So it's good to know that. Did they give everybody a satisfying send-off?
Yeah, they do. I mean, every wife doesn't get a 5-minute spiel. I think Terry Hatcher probably gets the lion's share of the ending of the show, but they do, like I said, tell where all of these characters go and kind of how their lives play out for decades to come. But the very end of it, as Susan is driving away from Wisteria Lane and moving, they do this nice little moment of all the characters who have died on the show are standing on various lawns dressed in white, kind of watching her drive off. And so it was fun to get a nice little callback to all of those characters and see these people that, season 1, season 2, season 3, who died either humorously or tragically, get to stand there and kind of wave goodbye to everyone. And I did. I got a little choked up. I ain't gonna lie.
You don't have to.
And Mary Alice was the last one, and the last one you see and the last voice you hear, and that's entirely appropriate for the show.
Well, thanks.
She's who started it.
Thanks for the recap. We appreciate it. Scotty, what's going on with Blu-ray and DVD?
All right, this is going to be for the week of May 22nd. First one that's coming out is Chris Pine and Tom Hardy are fighting over for the affections of Reese Witherspoon in This Means War. The Woman in Black stars Daniel Radcliffe, who drops the glasses and the scarf and the broomstick to actually do a semi-serious ghost story. Also, Red Tails, which tells the story of a group of African-American fighter pilots in World War II, as George Lucas produced. Also, for the younger kids, Secret World of Arrietty, which is Miyazaki's interpretation of The Littles, apparently. Also, Newlyweds, which was a new one to me. I don't know how I missed this one, but Newlyweds is a romantic comedy written by Edward Burns, directed by Edward Burns, and starring Edward Burns. Also on TV, there was The River, Sherlock Season 2, as well as Teen Wolf Season 1.
Ooh, yeah. Hit me with that unknown shit. Flashback.
And with that, we're going to move on to our flashback of the week. This is where we go over a DVD or Blu-ray that is semi-obscure or a little well-known. And one of us hoes basically gets an opportunity to share that film with the rest of us and with all of you. And this week it's Aaron's turn. So, Aaron, what movie you got for us?
Well, I thought, because we were talking about Men in Black 3 earlier, David Koepp is a director. Well, he's actually more of a writer, but he wrote Men in Black 3, as well as Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, and a bunch of other Hollywood movies. War of the Worlds, he wrote that. He also directed a film many, many years ago, and I thought, I don't know, it's an old favorite of mine, and I saw the connection. I thought, well, that's the one I'll talk about. And also because in the game of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, it's like the quickest way to get there. It's called Stir of Echoes. Kevin Bacon plays a character called Tom Witzke, and basically what happens is he goes to a party, gets hypnotized, and when he leaves the party from this hypnotism, he starts seeing visions and ghosts and things start going crazy around him. It's really one of those movies that's hard to describe without ruining everything that's cool about it. Mm-hmm. But it's this quirky little thriller where as you go through the film, he starts seeing more and more things that lead to a mystery in his neighborhood that he has to kind of figure out what that mystery is. And it's a very deep, dark secret, and it's actually a pretty sad story, but it's a really good thriller. I mean, people start thinking he's going crazy, but really what he's doing is seeing more and more visions, more intense visions and things, and he can't tell if it's real or if this is a ghost or really what this is. So as the film goes on, you get a very satisfying ending. It's very good. Kevin Bacon is just spot on in this movie. It's probably one of the best movies I've seen him in. Normally when you see him, he's in a supporting role. He doesn't do too many lead movies anymore. This is only several years back, so it's fairly recent. It's really good. So if you can find it, Stir of Echoes.
Didn't it come out around the same time of Sixth Sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it kind of got buried because of it.
Yeah, I kind of think so.
Yeah, it's one of those. It was very much a low cost independent movie, a very small movie, and I think they were riding on the coattails of Sixth Sense, and it just people thought, well, this is just a ripoff of it, and it really isn't. It's really not the same kind of movie, but because there's kind of ghosts involved, people just want to make it connect. Mm-hmm. So, but it's really good. Has everybody seen it? I know Scott's seen it.
It's a lot of fun. It's severely underrated for just what you said. It's a very fun movie.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of those pleasant surprises that you kind of pick it up at Blockbuster and say, we'll give this a shot, and turned out to be, damn, this is pretty good.
Exactly.
Now, this is based on a short story written by who? Or not a short story, but an actual novel?
No, it was a screenplay.
No.
I didn't know that.
The movie is based on a book.
Well, I didn't know that. I just know David Koepp wrote it and directed it.
Oh.
Sorry.
That movie made me love that.
You know what? I should probably.
Looks like somebody didn't do his homework.
I should probably go on the Dead Robot Society podcast and figure out what that is.
Oh, have you been
Written
invited?
by Richard Matheson.
No, I've never been invited.
You haven't been invited to that? Oh,
No.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
And Richard Matheson also wrote what book? That had several movies based on it?
Richard Matheson? I don't know. Oh, Spencer
I Am
Friday?
Legend?
Oh, I don't know.
What Dreams May Come? Somewhere in
I like
Time?
that one.
That was an awful movie. I hated
Really?
that movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
What,
like
What Dreams May Come?
Did not
great.
like it.
Oh, I loved it.
Visuals were great. Everything else about it sucked. My
That's all right.
opinion.
Damn, haterade.
I know.
Why
He's
does it
still
make-
chugging it.
So apparently I can't not like movies at a movie podcast?
No. You didn't read the memo?
No.
No.
Didn't get that
You didn't
one.
get that?
Well, before we go and before we learn what our Stump the Hoe answer was, We're going to take a quick promo break. So here, and I said break correctly this week. So here you go.
Do you like movies? Well, let me make you an offer that you can't refuse. Have you ever found yourself standing at the local Cineplex with that smell of freshly buttered popcorn wafting through your nostrils, wondering if that new Hugh Jackman movie is really worth your time? Or have you ever lamented about that time you spent scouring the vast expanse of the internet for movie and DVD release dates when, let's be honest, you'd rather be leveling up your troll hunter, working on the great American novel, or even watching kitten videos? Oh yes, I said kitten videos. I will do the work for you. All I ask is 15 to 30 minutes of your time every Tuesday. My name is Michael Faulkner, and every Tuesday is showtime at the weekly Podioplex, your audio guide to what's new at the box office, how the top 10 fared over the weekend, and what's coming to your home theater on DVD and Blu-ray. You can find the weekly Podioplex on the Chronic Rift Network at www.chronicrift.com, along with a plethora of other podcasts that explore the culture in pop culture. The weekly Podioplex, brought to you by the Chronic Rift. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the theater.
That's a wrap.
Okay, and we're back. Before we do our From the Outside In topic, Justin, why don't you give us that Stump the Hoe answer?
All right, Vin Diesel was heavily sought after for the film Daredevil, both to play Daredevil or to play Bullseye, but he declined either part to be involved in another film. What was that film? Was it A, Fast and the Furious, B, Knockaround Guys, C, The Iron Giant, D, Pitch Black? Aaron, you and Scotty picked Pitch Black. Brian, you picked Knockaround Guys, and fuck you too very much, but yes, it was D, Pitch Black.
And I was going to say that before you picked it. I have no way to prove it, but I was.
What? Why do you
All
need to
four of them
justify it?
actually did come out, though, in the same 2 to 3 year period at the same time Daredevil, so I was actually kind of surprised.
Which is funny, because the only franchises he has going right now is Pitch Black and Fast and the Furious. Outside of that,
That ain't nothing to sniff at.
I'm just saying, but he's not really doing anything else outside of those movies. That's kind of
Does he need to be doing anything else?
Probably not. I'm just saying. I thought maybe he should do Knocked Up 2 or Knock Around Guys 2 or something like
Knocked up.
Knocked up
I'll
again.
get the fuck out.
that. Knocked Up Again.
You know, what Vin Diesel movie I loved is Boiler Room. And it was not an action movie at all.
No, he was really good in that.
I love that movie.
Ben Affleck was great
was-
in that.
Yeah,
though.
he was really good in that. He had like a, 2-minute
It's
scene?
one of the few movies I like Jamie Kennedy in.
Well,
yeah.
Ben Affleck's scene in that was really reminiscent of Alec Baldwin and
Yep.
Glengarry
Yes.
Glen
It
Ross.
was totally taken from Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go from the outside in, where every week we talk about a topic that's on ours or our listeners' minds. This week, we are going to talk about the fall TV schedule and some of the new shows coming out. There are a smorgasbord of shows that are coming out in the fall for the major networks, what we're talking about. And each of us has a couple of shows we want to talk about that we were pretty excited about. So, Justin, why don't you start?
Well, the first one, and probably for me the most exciting one, is a show called Revolution. It's going to be on NBC, and it's from J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot production company. And I'm a huge J.J. Abrams fan, so I'm always amped up to see what he's working on. Though not everything works out. I mean, come on, Alcatraz started off strong, got
Lost.
weak pretty quick, but I can't blame that on him. Most everything else he does, I'm interested in. But this is a show about the world one day just suddenly being depleted of energy. You don't know what caused it, why it happened, but it happens. And so the world is instantly thrown back into the dark ages. I love that premise. The pilot episode was directed by Jon Favreau, who of course we all know from Iron Man, Cowboys and Aliens. And the teleplay for it was written by Supernatural's creator, Eric Kripke, who we also know. I'm a huge fan of that show. So having those two guys involved, along with J.J. Abrams' involvement, I mean, you really can't get much better than that. I think they've all got fairly good pedigree. It's a fantastic premise. I wish the trailer for the pilot had been a lot less revelatory in the things that it showed, but I can't unsee what I saw. I'm still interested in it. So Revolution is probably going to be at the top of my new shows to watch.
I really want to see that, too. I'm a huge J.J. Abrams fan. I love J.J. Abrams. I love Lost. Alias was one of my favorite shows. And anything that he does, I will give a shot to. And people really should find the trailer online because I personally think it looks really good. I don't think it gives too much away, and I think it gets you hooked enough to where you really want to see this show. And
This is also on my list, too. J.J. Abrams, I'm a big fan, obviously, and anything semi-post-apocalyptic or New World kind of thing, I'm excited about it. I'm on board.
Yep. the thing that scares me though are these post-apocalyptic shows don't really stick around very long.
Mm-hmm.
That's
let's hope this
scares
doesn't go Jericho's way.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks phenomenal, and I'm really amped for that one also.
All right, Brian, what do you got? We're just gonna go round robin. So
the one that caught my eye the most, I think, was The Following. It's on Fox. It's a crime thriller that follows an FBI agent or a former FBI agent as he chases a serial killer who has convinced and trained others to kill also. It's got Kevin Bacon, James Purefoy, Maggie Grace, and that kid who played Iceman in the X-Men movies.
Okay.
I know the trailer's on YouTube. You can find it. It looks very intense. It's good to see Kevin Bacon doing a little bit of I guess kind of a darker, kind of edgier type of role. And I don't know. This looks like one of the freshest shows I've seen in a while.
Now, do we know how the serial killer is creating this army? Is it some kind of subliminal shit? Are we talking he casts a spell? Has there been any clue?
No. There's no supernatural stuff apparently involved. One of them looks like he's one of the guards that works at the prison that this guy is locked up in. There's another lady who has been corresponding with him over the internet and letters and I think visitations and stuff. So he's got this network of students or disciples type of things, and they're all going out. And then I don't know if he's released or if he broke out. I think he broke out according to the trailer, but it's about a 3 or almost 4 minute trailer. So it looks pretty good.
Okay. They should get the Breakout Kings on his ass.
They should. If they
do
come back
crossover.
If they come back for season 3.
Maybe it's Michael Scoville.
Oh, no, he's dead.
Hey, you think?
Spoiler alert, motherfucker.
My most anticipated show for the fall is 666 Park Avenue. That is on ABC, and it stars Terry O'Quinn, who's one of my favorite actors long before he was on Lost, but especially when he got on Lost. He plays Gavin Doran, who's a mysterious owner of the Drake Hotel. Just the Drake. It's an upscale building apparently where everyone's desires come true for a price.
It's Fantasy Island in a building.
No, I don't think so. It's like a young couple takes over managing the building, and apparently it becomes like this struggle between good and evil, and I think he's buying souls. Like you get what you want, but you have to sell your soul. Is what it seems like.
Needful things.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's very, very interesting concept. Probably one of those shows that won't last more than 4 episodes, but I really want to see it. I love Terry O'Quinn. The guy he's just good.
What network is it on?
ABC, sir.
Wow. Now, seriously, who amongst us is going to move into a building numbered 666? I'm not religious, but I'm not moving into a fucking building.
But you're not pressing your luck either.
No, I am not.
Just in case.
Just in case. Yes.
I could still be wrong. I'm not 100%.
I'm not fucking with God.
What do you got, Scott?
What I'm actually interested in, and I might be in a minority here, is Hannibal, which is a prequel to Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs. This one's following Hannibal Lecter and the FBI profiler Will Graham when they were a crime-fighting team, which...
they were superheroes themselves?
Yeah, exactly. They assembled.
Yeah.
And no. Like Red Dragon, I'm in the camp of people that actually liked Red Dragons a lot better than the original Silence of the Lambs, and so seeing the two.
You like Red Dragon better than Silence of the Lambs?
I did.
Now I'll give you Manhunter maybe, but you're insane.
He's just like seeing Ray Fiennes stand there naked, flexing his tattoo.
That whole relationship between Ray Fiennes and Emma
Watson.
Emma Watson.
No, not Emma Watson. That was Emma Watson.
Emma Watson was Harry Potter.
That was Hermione.
It was something.
She'd be better in it.
No, the fun parts of those movies, the Hannibal movies, were when Hannibal was in prison and they're working together to catch whomever, and that's begging for a series. I think I'm interested to see that. So,
okay. Well, I really want to see that too. I really think you should be committed for even saying that Red Dragon is better than Silent. I don't even understand that. Please, people, write in and tell him how wrong he is because he needs to know.
I don't care for any of those movies.
Really? You don't like Hannibal Lecter?
No. I don't care for serial killer stuff, usually.
Well, that's too bad for you. I like seeing people bite it. I think it'll be interesting because I'm sure they're going to do this whole series where they're hunting down a killer every week, but secretly he's eating people. I got a feeling that's what the storyline's going to be. All right, Justin, what else you got?
All right, well, the CW is not a channel that really does much for me anymore outside of, we mentioned earlier, Supernatural. But I was a big fan of Smallville and its 10-season run, and when it ended, I kind of figured Supernatural was all that was going to keep me coming back to that channel, but they've managed to find something that's going to bring me back. This time they're going with another DC superhero, but this time they're going with the Green Arrow. And of course, they have to change the name, so of course it's just Arrow. But it's a show about the DC superhero Oliver Queen. He's being played by a guy named Stephen Amell, who I've never seen before. I had to look him up on IMDb. The only thing he's been a part of that I've even heard of was The Vampire Diaries, and he played I believe, a werewolf in the second season, but I haven't seen that show either. So just hearing his name, I have no idea what he's going to bring to the role, but he looks like a Green Arrow type. I've seen images of him in the costume. Looks fine. So I'm sure he'll do a good job with it. It has no ties whatsoever to Smallville. In Smallville, they actually had Green Arrow, but this is a completely different actor, completely separate show. So no crossovers at all. But what really gives me confidence in this is that two of the creators of the show are comic book writer veterans. There's Andrew Kreisberg and Mark Guggenheim, who both have got lots of experience with DC and Marvel Comics. It's nice to know that guys who are real comic book guys are behind this show as opposed to Supernatural, who, even though, it was a good show, it really wasn't helmed early on, especially by anybody at comic book related. So it gives me some confidence. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a while since there's been some superheroes on TV, and I'm kind of curious to see what they do with the Green Arrow. So there you go.
I want to see it. I was a big fan of Smallville until it was on for like 27 years. So
went on a little long, yeah.
Yes, a little long in the tooth, so to speak. But it was a good show. The first probably 5 years were fantastic, really.
I'm hoping they go a slightly more mature, and though I hate the word dark, to imply that it's somehow just because something is gritty, it makes it good. But, Smallville had a kind of a shiny look to it. I'd prefer for the show to have a little less of that shiny to it.
I liked Smallville's shiny tone, though. It was
fine for superhero, but for Green Arrow, the guy's a dark character. So I would like to see a bit of that portrayed in this show.
Brian, you're next.
Yeah, another one that caught my eye was Last Resort. It's an ABC show where an American submarine receives orders to basically nuke Pakistan over this secured line that's only designed for these types of orders. But when they can't confirm the order, the CO and the XO they both decline or refuse to send the nuclear warhead out. Mm-hmm. So they're basically branded as enemies to the country, and another sub is sent out to take them out. So they haul ass and end up on this exotic island to take refuge while they attempt to clear their names and return home. It kind of sounds like Crimson Tide versus meets Lost.
That's kind of what I was thinking, actually.
But I think everybody knows why they're on this island in this case. But it is written by Sean Ryan, who created The Shield and The Unit, which was one of my favorite CBS shows for a few years. It does star Andre Braugher,
Robert a great Patrick. Actor. Andre Braugher's a great actor.
Yeah, he is. He is. And a few other people not really familiar with, but that's when it caught my eye. I don't know if you guys are into, I guess, these military type or pseudo-military type shows, but
it's interesting. I'm kind of wondering. I really want to. This was one I have to see the pilot because I don't know what direction they're going with this. Is it serious or is it joking? Are they crashing this island and
is it Gilligan's Island? What is it?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Are they enemies of the state but having a little Gilligan fun or what? So.
Yeah, I was the one thing that kind of gives me a little bit of for me personally, a red flag is they do mention that romance does spring up while this, the crew is on the island and stuff like that. So I don't know how much of that they're going to play into it. So hopefully very minimal, but
let's be honest. When your country is against you, your boat that carries you crashes, and you have nowhere to go but a tropical island. You think love. I mean,
well, exactly.
Romance is going to blossom. Just how it works. Well, one that I'm looking forward to, that should surprise no one, is Elementary. Even though I'm not loving the idea of Lucy Liu being in this show, it's still... Johnny Lee Miller stars as Sherlock Holmes, who's my favorite literary character of all time. And Lucy Liu stars as Joan Watson. That's so clever. It's a contemporary take on the famous detective as he is freshly out of rehab and pairs up with a disgraced surgeon who recently lost her license, and they end up taking on like the most difficult cases on the NYPD can offer, kind of via Monk, same kind of thing as Monk. It really seems like they're ripping off Monk completely. And I don't like that aspect of it. I think that from what I've read, it seems like they might be going a little too... They're trying to make it too contemporary, because there already is a fantastic Sherlock Holmes contemporary take that's on the BBC called Sherlock. And
that's got the guy with probably the best name in movies and TVs.
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch, yeah. And he does a great interpretation of Sherlock. Really one of the best I think I've seen in all the years I've seen interpretations of it. So Johnny Lee Miller, he's going to have to really step up his game to impress me. But because it's Sherlock Holmes, I promise I will be tuning in the first time it airs. It's on CBS. And as long as they don't make it one of these run-of-the-mill normal CBS shows like CSI and shit, I will be there. But they really need to make Sherlock Holmes, the character, relevant, not just the show. Not just make it about murder of the week, murder of the week, murder of the week. I don't want to see that.
If it wasn't for the fact that the BBC has already got a Sherlock Holmes show that is totally brilliant, I would probably have a little more interest in this show. But I can't help but feel like this is Americans trying to do what the Brits are already doing magnificently. I mean, when are we going to start doing fucking Downton Abbey? Let the Brits do it. It's theirs. They're doing it wonderfully. Fucking leave it alone.
I kind of agree with you. The Sherlock...
And Benedict Cumberbatch, I can't wait to see him in Star Trek 2.
Mm-hmm.
He is in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, so you can get him in that if you are so inclined.
I've actually got that rented. I just haven't watched it yet. So.
And Benedict Cumberbatch. I just wanted to say that again. That's just...
That is such a British fucking name, isn't it?
It is so awesome.
Justin, you have anything else?
No, that was about it. I mean, fucking Brian stole the following, so, whatever. But no, that was about it.
Brian, do you have any more? Are you looking forward to?
There is one. I don't know. You may be interested more in it than I am, but Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, I am looking forward to that one.
Are you?
Yeah. What's that about, asshole?
Wow.
Oh, that's based on a guy named Sheriff Ralph Lamb, who was a rancher turned lawman back in the 60s in Las Vegas. So it's there's a couple. What's this guy's name? He's kind of a younger actor, Dennis.
Oh, Dennis Quaid. I like him.
Dennis Quaid, yeah.
He's interesting. I like him. Good work.
I've never seen anything he's done worth a shit.
Inner Space was great.
Wow.
He's overrated.
He is not. He's underrated.
And for those listeners out there who aren't so in tune, there was a slight hint of sarcasm in that, as Dennis Quaid is one of Aaron's favorite actors.
Yes, he is.
So.
And
I think if Dennis Quaid played Sherlock Holmes, Aaron would just ooze all over himself.
I kind of just did. Just you pitching it.
Yeah.
You guys aren't in the freaking room with him.
If I
Sorry.
Scott's wondering where my hand went.
He's creating a puddle. So anyway, Quaid plays Sheriff Lamb, and Michael Chiklis, who most people recognize from The Shield, he plays a Chicago gangster who's trying to take over the desert playground, so to speak. But there's also, a couple other big name people like Carrie Ann Moss, who's in this, and
I didn't know Carrie Ann Moss was in it. I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's a district attorney or some type of lawyer.
Okay,
so
it looks like a cool show. I mean, it's on CBS, so that's where old people go to die. But it looks interesting. and I will give it a shot just because Dennis Quaid is in it. There was one more that I will mention real quick. It's called 0 Hour. I don't know what the hell the show is, but Anthony Edwards plays a guy called Hank Galliston. It's an ABC show. And apparently he spent his life following clues, debunking myths, and solving some kind of conspiracies. But his wife gets abducted from an antique clock shop, and he finds a treasure map in one of the clocks that contains clues to her whereabouts, as well as to some events that could lead to a cataclysmic event. I don't know what the hell this is, but that just blows my mind that this show exists, because I don't know what it is.
It's kind of all over, so all over the place that you kind of want to see it. Just
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
'cause it sounds so ridiculous that I want to see it now.
I mean, it's cataclysmic.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds dangerous.
It does.
It's
What is cataclysmic?
I don't know, but I wish I could say it as smooth as you do.
Can't wait to see it come to fruition. I can tell you that.
Oh. It'll curtail it.
It'll be coming down the pike.
It'll curtail into something else. All right.
If only this show was as funny for everybody else as it is for us.
As for surprising cancellations, they did release what was renewed and canceled. I didn't see anything that really shook me up other than CSI Miami was finally given the axe, so there's no more sunglasses coming off.
I was surprised by Harry's Law getting canceled. I actually really enjoyed that show.
Did you watch it?
Catch of it? Yeah, not. I didn't watch every episode, but it was one that I made a point of watching when it was on. And I thought the acting was great in that. Each episode was really interesting stories, and I'm not usually big into law shows. It takes something different for me to get interested, and I'm kind of sad to see that one go because I liked it.
I was thankful as heck Fringe got picked up for a 13 episode fifth season. Was it fifth or sixth? Fifth?
Think.
Final season.
Yeah,
that they're going to get
season
to close out the show. And yeah, I'm kind of glad, though, when they filmed the season finale, they filmed it to also potentially be a series finale. And it would have actually worked as a series finale, too. It had been a little brief, but it still would have worked. So I'm kind of curious where they're going to go in these final 13 episodes next season. But I was glad to see that show get picked up because Fox loses money on practically every episode. And I think all they're trying to do now is not piss off more old Firefly fans. Firefly fans and canceling a show that, a good sci-fi show.
Okay. Well, that is pretty much our show. If you guys have a From the Outside In topic that you want to send in to us, you can always email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com, or you can let us know on Twitter at @H_outsider, on Facebook, facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsider. In closing, we had a couple emails I want to read real brief. One was from Lucas C., who just said real quick, "Thanks for putting on a great movie podcast and allowing me to listen and think of something while I work." So we appreciate that. Thank you, Lucas. One was from Micah H. He said, "I love the spoiler cast. Great reviews, except for Scott's 9.5. He's speaking about the Avengers. And the show flowed very well as always. I wondered if the spoiler cast could become a permanent fixture for future mega hits like The Dark Knight Rises, The Amazing Spider-Man, and any other movies that everyone sees. Thanks for giving me something to listen to every week." I would say that...
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's very sweet, Micah.
Yeah, that's very sweet. I think that's probably something we will do for event movies. I mean, we don't want to get in the habit of doing it for every damn movie, but...
Spoiler cast for Dark Shadows.
Yeah. You want to talk more about Dark Shadows? I'll spoil it right now.
I gotta go. I got shit to do.
Spoiler cast for Medea.
And Scott actually... Medea. Scott actually wanted to address his 9.5.
I thought you might skip over it.
Have you had a good change of heart? Give it a 10 like the rest of us?
If it's anything other than I was wrong, this was a 10. There's nothing to address.
It's funny you said that, Brian. I actually went and saw this for a second viewing this weekend, and I am recanting my 9.5 and giving this a 10. So,
wow.
Awesome. Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I want to make it clear that this had nothing to do with the email from Micah, nor the shit you guys gave me before, during, and after the podcast.
Really? Nothing at all? Okay.
No, I went and saw it a second time, and man, the flow of this movie is damn near perfect. It's good. So I think a lot of the reason that I felt it slow was because I didn't watch Thor. Okay. So I had no idea who Loki was. I didn't know anything about Thor.
Why would you not watch that before you go see Avengers?
Why are you dumb?
Gosh.
Ran out of time. Ran out of time.
He's too busy jogging.
Too
5
busy
miles.
running.
Try to be that stupid, or is that just genetic?
Hey, where's that undo button?
Wow. And also, Twitter, the S Mystery Man said, Shaun of the Dead is an homage, not a parody. And he spelled it H-O capitalized. Get it?
Homage. I see what you did there.
And he also added, and Paul Rudd is greatness. Our Idiot Brother was a good movie that was overlooked. Justin and Scott are dumb.
Paul Rudd. So overrated.
Oh.
He's a Jerry Rimmer comedy.
You can always stay to the credits for outtakes. Please tell your friends about us. You can subscribe on iTunes, Zune, Google Reader, listen on your Stitcher radio app, and give us a thumbs up if you do. Apparently we got a lot of listeners on Stitcher, so thank you. Or just any plain old RSS feed. I want to thank the podcasters. Thank you, Brian Williams, available at BrianWMS on Twitter. Thanks, B.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Justin McCumber, host of the Dead Robot Society. It's a weekly podcast for aspiring writers, available at deadrobotsociety.com. Thanks, Justin.
It's a pleasure to be here. And, Scotty, I'm so glad to see you wanted to catch a predator.
And his book, Haywire, is available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, and for your Kindle or Nook. Scott Clark, the host of the Official Thread podcast, which is a monthly podcast for gamers, available on iTunes and Stitcher and at Official Thread. Scotty, thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks for having me. I think I'm going to run home.
He runs everywhere.
Got to run.
He just wants to run
He's in a
everywhere.
hurry.
He's always jogging. This guy is
Their
running.
zombies are after
Got to look
him.
good naked.
Scotty's one of those guys who exercises and tells everyone how much he exercises. I don't understand it, but thanks for being here. And remember, next week we are going to talk about who's going to see. What are we seeing? I'm seeing The Dictator this weekend. You guys going to see Battleship? Anybody?
I'm going to see Battleship. Yeah, my wife's going out of town. So.
Okay. Well, we'll have reviews for Battleship and Dictator next week. So remember, guys, the next time you go to a theater, buy popcorn.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Decision for me letting you go. No time to visit, I just wanna go home. You're never to understand that I'm doing the best I can, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home.
God, my wife's yelling at me, and I haven't even been upstairs in 2 hours, and it's my fault.
Why she's yelling?
Well, texting.
She's like, this hole ain't going to fill itself. Well, it could, I guess.
I was recording that one.
I dare you. Put that on there.
I'll put it in. It ain't like she's going to listen to it.
Okay, that's right.
But it's a
For some reason, I
safety.
thought you still worked at a movie theater.
Yeah, I'm an usher.
And I'll be there on Friday.
You'll be at my work on Friday?
Yeah.
You
Stalker.
get run by.
You get run by. You know what? Netflix Instant is getting a lot of like softcore porn on
Are
that.
they?
Yeah.
Hey, that doesn't suck.
No.
And some of them are in like not private bathrooms.
Like.
I know.
You know, don't worry. It'll all come to fruition eventually.
Well, it's bound to come down the pike sooner or later.
That's right. All right, here we go.
One of us is in deep trouble.
You gotta give him one.
That wasn't me. I don't want to get played for that.
You guys have taken this horse and beaten it into the fucking
Well, we've been waiting a half an
retention
hour.
pond. That's all
But see,
my
it's
fault.
funny to us. That's what you don't understand. It's
And the more
funny
you
to
hate it, the
us.
funnier it gets.